Tim Rogers, welcome to Australian Musician.
Hello, Greg.
We're here because you're doing a show called Easyfever with Chris Chaney, Phil Jamison, Cram and Tex Perkins, playing the music of the Easybeats. I'm just wondering, do you remember the first time you ever heard the Easybeats?
Yeah, my parents had a compilation, is the way I remember it, at home, so probably even before I was 10, I was aware of particular songs. And then seeing clips, maybe on, it could have been a clip on Sounds Unlimited or a show similar, seeing them and not making the connection immediately that there was an Australian element, that they were Australian. And then as I learnt more and more through the years, and what a story, first of all, and then quality of the songs, the production of them, the appeal of them, the cheekiness of the songs. So, although this is the retrospective nature of memory, I remember it being significant the first time I heard them, and I think it would have been Happy, the first song. I'll Make You Happy. My memory of it was significant, but that's possibly been tainted because now it's become a lot more personal.
Yeah. As a songwriter, have you spent much time dissecting their songs and noticed anything about the chord progression?
I actually don't dissect songs a lot. Not being a schooled musician, it's tempting to go into that. Oh, actually, the one opportunity I did have, I beg your pardon, was playing with Harry Vander, and the band did a pretty shocking version of Friday on My Mind at an awards night, and realising how complex that song is as a rock and roll song and as a composition, and what went into it. It's got. I'd rather talk about other elements of the Easybeats than that song, but that's a little mini symphony in there. The guitar arrangements are very complex, and seeing Harry school Davey Lane on, no, Davey, you don't actually play it that way, you play it this way, and I wasn't playing guitar on the track and on the representation we did that night, just sang pretty badly, but that was being schooled. They did primitive caveman kind of, diamonds here, and for my woman, that they could do that really just gut instinct, primal kind of sexy thing very, very well, or songs very complex. Heaven and Hell and Friday, which is complex, difficult.
Everybody knows Friday on My Mind, but
they should.
The catalogue really is quite deep, isn't it?
It is very deep, and it's got the less attractive part of their story, but one that really interests me is when they went to England and their experiences over there. I was talking to someone this morning about seeing interviews with the Easybeats in '65, and they're just all cheek and charm and optimism. And when they come back from England, there's an interview, I think about '67, '68, and how much older they look for that experience of going to England and being, come on boys, give us a hit, give us a hit, give us a hit, and playing to starting again, which, if you're any band worth your salt, you would have had that experience. And I can't help but equate it to my own experiences with the band, going back to England, back to Europe, and back to America, and just sort of being ignored, which is fine because you expect that, but really being condescended to. And the Easybeats story over in England fascinates me, and what happened to them, because if you see those interviews, they look 15 years older rather than the year that it was, or 2 years that it was.
Yeah. So with this upcoming Easyfever show, how did you go about selecting who was going to perform which song?
I had no selection. I had a wish list, and Jack Houston, musical director, just went, sorry Tim, sorry Tim, you can't do sorry, essentially. sorry, can't do this. You know, St. Louis, sorry, can't do it. Their version of River Deep Mountain Height, no, can't do that. So no, I was the last cab. And then hearing from Jack that the other singers, you know, who are all my dearest friends and gentlemen I love. But initially, I think I was a little, bloody hell, Jack, why can't I do this? And I thought, nah, they'd do it better. They'd do it. Yeah, I get that. So I went to just searching through the albums, you know. And I guess the Easybeats one of those bands where I guess the greatest hits, it would seem like most families should and would have that, but yet if you get the records, you know, listen to Vigil, listen to Shame That Drain, you know, hearing those album tracks is really big for me because that well is flipping deep. And even when they were in England and trying to write, you know, hits and really throwing themselves out there, you know, Hello, How Are You, and songs that in retrospectively they don't seem very affectionate about. It's always the quality of the songwriters and also as vocalists, you know, and Stevie jumped into every single one of those songs, whether it was a ballad, a snarling kind of horny teenage song, or a really sophisticated pop epic. He'd throw himself in there. That guy was born to throw himself into things, for better or worse.
And the show also extends to Stevie's solo material as well?
Apparently, yeah. I was a little ambivalent about that. I thought that we should keep it as just Easybeats stuff. But then, and I was a little vocal about that, but then I thought, well, look, you really could, you know, barriers aren't for rock and roll music. And if I get the chance to sing Black Eyed Bruiser, which I may have the chance to do, then I want to do that, you know. So it does extend beyond Easybeats' career because of what George and Harry did us, was what Stevie did afterwards. You know, it is pretty bloody fascinating. What do you do when you're, you know, like a young immigrant kids, Villawood, and then suddenly you're pop stars 2 years later, and then that's taken away from you. So what happens then? It's, gee, we really do chew up and spit out entertainers, and there's a part of me that thinks, well, yeah, so sure, they're entertainers, bugger them, you know. We do it to everyone. But I just see that happen to kids. Still happens now, you know, like particularly pop performers, you know. I have a large disdain for pop music in the way that it pumps up kids, young boys and young girls, and men and women, and they're told that they've got a use-by date, which, as a performer and as if you're right, you know that that's not true. It's just popularity, and you can still create art. But to be told that and not have another voice telling you it's not true, that's sure in the pop world, sure, meaning popular culture. But when you're out of the popular culture microscope, spotlight, then you can spread your wings and try other art forms and other music. And Easybeats are a really classic example. Harry and George went on and did amazing stuff. So I'm glad we're representing that part of the story.
So Jack Housden and Ash Naylor are playing guitars in this band. Do you get to play guitar too?
Greg, I've got to tell you, when you know you've got Jack and Ash behind you, I'm not going to go anywhere near a guitar. It's a privilege to play with them, but also I kind of know how to wind them up. And, you know, look, I'm a very perfunctory singer, but when they're playing behind you, and I've only seen the band perform just on this TV clip that Jack sent me, and I've got a huge amount of respect for Jack, and for Ash is one of my very oldest friends. I need to bring any ounce of singer and performer out of myself to match that. It's the arrangements with Easybeats songs are such that Stevie needed to be that good. You know, 'cause you look and think, particularly of Australian bands at the time, like Why weren't the Spiders bigger, or the Creatures, and even La-Di-Da's? Why weren't they kind of as big as Easybeats? Because La-Di-Da's should have been, but as should have the Creatures. But the guitar interplay, you needed a singer and a performer as brilliant as Stevie Wright to not only match it, but kind of be somewhere there, and then the guitars are Dick's bass playing, Snowy behind. You needed him to be that great and to be that cheeky and to be that larrikin. So us clowns doing that, these songs, we need to bring everything out of ourselves, And because there are people in an audience that these songs mean even more to them than they do to us. We love these beats, love Stevie, George Harris, Snowy, Dick. They mean so much to us, but we know that there are audience members who possibly would have seen the Easybeats. I've met people who saw the Beats. Members of Stevie's band around the Hard Road era. And I've got to pull everything out of myself just to show my respect to them too, because it means a lot to them, as probably more than that does to me.
Do you know if the band have been concentrating on the Easybeats sound? Are they using hollow body guitars?
I think you have to, Greg. I'm glad you asked that, because the production of even the early singles, there's guitar sounds, and I don't think it's just for nerds like us. I hope that I'm speaking in the collective term. They're impeccably produced records because of the playing, but also the sound. I mean, the guitar sound on Sorry is just there's a crystalline part of it. There's a guttural level. It's so. Knowing Jack Housen and Ash, I know that they'll be all over that, because if they didn't represent that music the way that it is, then I don't want any fucking part of it. I mean, I'm the guy who, when we're playing with the Stones and they go into Satisfaction, you see people go nuts. I'm like, why doesn't Keith just play it with a flipping fuzz pedal again? Because that's just one of the greatest fuzz sounds of all time. And when I was playing with, watching Ray Davies, and he does a acoustic version of "You Really Got Me," and I love Ray, but it's like, I need to hear that. Ooh. There's a reason why we love those singles and why we love those songs and why we love those albums. And yeah, if the band aren't all over that, then I'm leaving before the first show.
A couple of the guys in the Easybeats that don't get the recognition, Snowy, the drummer, and Dick, the bass player, the rhythm section.
Yeah.
They were a pop band, but those guys really propelled those songs, didn't they?
Yeah, they dug in. Those parts are intricate. Again, they could do the troglodyte stuff or more Baroque arrangements really well. And I love hearing. There's a doco a couple of years ago, and hearing Snowy in particular talk, about why he left the band, and there's things that went on. My missus would say, how do you know? We'll say, how do you know when you really love a band, when you know the bass player's name? And I'll laugh along and go, but I always know the bass player's name. I always know the drummer's name of bands I love, because that's what you're listening to. And when I'm driving, it's kind of less the show stuff. I want to hear the guts to it, and to the pelvic floor of it going on. I encourage sure, get a greatest hits, but also get those albums. It's too easy. The Friday on My Mind album, incredible songs.
So why should people catch the Easyfever shows?
Hearing those songs louder than you can play at home, with a band that's absolutely cracking it, and you'll know 5 singers who are, well, sure, we've got a bit of chutzpah and a little bit of showiness, but you're singing songs that are totemic. And so I reckon just go there to try and, see if we're going to fail. Watch us, dare us to fail. The songs have almost a religious nature to them for me. I'm pretty sure. Well, Phil Jamieson as well, I know, who Stevie's son Nick is one of his dearest friends. There's an extra element to it all for us. So we're going to be giving it all we got. And look, I hope that these aren't just seated venues. I know that there are some seats involved, but if you can't dance to this music, you haven't got a flip and pulse. And if you're not bodily able, then we want to move something else, some other part of you.
Once these shows are done, what's on for Tim Rogers for 2018?
A little bit of journalism work, a bit of script writing, doing short film, and trying to get a honky-tonk record together with Bill Chambers, get back to the States. And then you and I have got some projects next year which are preposterous. One, which involves there was a film made in the late 80s which we're going to represent, which may or may not be about a fictional rock group, and we're going to be tackling a musical opera next year. We started writing a record, and we thought, let's do something preposterous. Or maybe they were just sick of my songs, I don't know. But as 4 people, we have a lot of fun together. And so the projects that we've got for next year are difficult fun.
Tim Rogers, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Greg.